All right. So, oops, it's going to be annoying. Let me introduce myself first, I guess. As you might read from the Reddit or Discord server, my name is Ruslan, and I'm excited about all this um, Python initiative group that we are creating right now. And I hope it's really gonna work out properly, and we're all gonna learn together. Um, but first of all, I need to put some disclaimers so we're all clear that we're all in the same spot. So first of all, I'm not working as a part of any institutions. So I'm just like a random guy who knows Python and just wants to share his knowledge with other people. So it's not like a private course or something. So I wouldn't give you any certificates, just some lectures and some knowledge and some discussions in Discord channel. And as I wrote in the channel and in the Reddit post, I'm not a neuroscientist yet, but rather a data scientist. So I cannot answer questions like how does memory work or how can you, I don't know, some other neuro-related questions. But I can tell you how to do some stuff in Python. For example, you can tell me, oh, I have this EEG data. How can I don't know, visualize this? Or I want to simulate the Poisson spiking model. How can I generate Poisson distribution in Python? So that's what I can tell you. So just so we're clear. And the whole purpose of this study group is first of all to gather together, so I can share my Python knowledge with you guys, and you can share your neuroscience knowledge with me, because that's what I'm also here for. So that's a learning process for me too. Because I have a bachelor degree in electronic engineering about 6 years ago, and this autumn I'm going to join my master degree in 2 weeks or something like that, and master degree is going to be in neuroscience. So I'm excited about whole the neuroscience field, especially in computational neuroscience, and that's why I want to learn more and more. I've seen that some of people wrote that they study already data science masters, or they have some experience in data science or machine learning. So I'm gonna tell you that maybe first couple of lectures is not gonna be for you, because I'm gonna give some basic stuff, because I've seen in the spreadsheet file that some of people have not that great experience in Python, and that's why we're here for, to learn Python. So I'm gonna tell what are the if statement, how does for loop works, or how to create a function in Python. So I guess if you know data science field already, you don't need to listen this another time. So you can just skip some of the introduction lectures and just join in a couple of days or weeks or so. But yeah, so the purpose is to learn Python from the beginning, from the basic stuff, and then later we could just gather together and work on some neuroscience related topics. For example, I posted the exercises from Diane and Abbott book. So they have 15 chapters or so, and each chapter has its exercises, just to make sure that you got the lecture properly, not the lecture but the textbook properly. And also there is an open exercises from the Neuromatch Academy, which was this August, I guess, online computational neuroscience course. So and maybe some other problems we could work on. For example, we could just go through some paper and just discuss how they did this, how can we simulate this in Python, and so on. And also I used to teach Python and data science in Russian, so I've never teach this in English. So if any time I start speak Russian with you, or I just talk nonsense, just let me know, just stop me, and I'm gonna translate it in proper English. So, and if I by any time forget any English word, just forgive me. I have a dictionary open in my tab, so I'm just gonna check some words that I don't remember. And yeah, I feel like I said everything I wanted. Well, I'm not sure that Russian. Okay. um, I will try to keep the track on the chat, but if you have any questions, you can just ask them in chat, or you can just unmute yourself and ask them, or like if you can unmute and tell me that there are some questions in the chat, so just come and check, and I'm gonna do this. And also we can teach some Russian together. I've seen that some of you already have like wrote down in the Discord server like who are you, what is your like area of interest. But if any of you want to like share it again with us, you are free to unmute yourself and just tell us about yourself, and then we can dive into Python. So does anyone wants to share his story, or why is he here? Okay. Oh, I can hear some noise, but I cannot hear the voice. Jane, I cannot hear. Is it me or everyone else cannot hear Jane? Sorry, Jane, we cannot hear you. No, still cannot hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, there's something wrong with my mic. So just to say who I am, what I do.
Yeah, so like why are you here?
Yeah. So I have a master's in neuroscience, but it's quite biology, biochemistry. Focused and psychology focused, but I feel like you should learn some computational neuroscience. I just started a Python for data science course on Udemy, and this kind of just hit my feed, and I was like, yeah, it's just perfect for me.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I feel like there's like too many people to make a full introduction circle around, so like maybe you can listen like two or more people and then dive in.
Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Yep.
I don't know. Can you see me as well? I can't see myself.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
Yeah, we can.
Hey, so basically I'll just introduce myself quickly because I know that we kind of want to get on and start learning. But I am starting my PhD in cellular and molecular physiology at the University of Liverpool. And I've been studying here since 2014, so quite a long time. And my background is in animal biology. So I did a zoology undergraduate, and then I did my master's degree in functional and comparative genomics. So I'm absolutely like probably the most beginner when it comes to coding. I did do some stats in R, but as far as coding with Python or any other language, I'm absolute novice. So yeah, I saw this and thought this would be very appropriate because particularly within the field that I'm going into, I know that coding will be extremely advantageous. And I know that from my experience of studying coding through masters and undergraduate, I've just found it very difficult in the university environment. There's often a lot of people. You can't really get that one-to-one engagement. So I thought I'd give this a try. So yeah, and if you have any questions that may include like animal stuff, like a lot of the research is done on animals for neuroscience, then I'm always here to help. So yeah, I have a lot of background knowledge in genomics right down to the phenotype. So yeah, there you go.
Awesome. All right, so I guess we can start now. Like we can still chat later in the Discord server, but to make things short, we're gonna start with Python, and I'm gonna share my screen. And let me know if it actually. So, can you see my screen?
Yep, yep, we can.
Okay, thank you. As I told before, we're gonna start with very basic stuff. Like you can see on the left, like the list what we're gonna try to walk through today, like variables, types, lists, tuples, sets. So if you know already the stuff, so you can just mute me or you can just leave the meeting. It's fine.
Actually, may I ask a question? Just right off the bat? Are people familiar, or I guess this would be a good first step, are people familiar with like interactive environments like this, or where can you go to actually set up a Python compiler? I see you have something in your browser.
Yeah, I'm gonna. That's a good question. I'm gonna tell what exactly this is what called Jupyter notebooks, and I'm gonna explain how can you set it up and how you can actually run Python on your laptop or whatever you're using. So basically we are gonna walk through the Jupyter notebooks, which you can find by just go Jupyter project Jupyter. So you can install this on your laptop, and it works for Windows, for Linux, for Mac. So no problems with that. And what exactly it is just like an environment to work with Python. So it's just like a better way to run your code, because it's easy to visualize the cells. You can put some, you see some text notes here, you can put some images and so on. Because I can run Python in my terminal, so from the, how would I say this, from the root, I don't know. But anyway, I can write Python here, just 2 plus 2, x equals to 5, print x. So that's exactly the same. But as you can see here, the environment is not that user friendly. So it wouldn't be nice to work in the terminal. So that's why people created, some smart people created interactive Python environment. For example, I can also do this. I can run IPython. And maybe my color is not that great, but you can see it's a little bit better. X equals to 5, print x. So you can see that if you have IPython, which stands for interactive Python, it creates enables you to run Python in more fancy way. So you can see some coloring of built-in functions and so on. And on top of this, people build Jupyter notebooks where you can, as I told before, run your code in more fancy way. I don't want to go through installation right now, so I will just send some links with the installation guides at the end in the Discord, so we don't waste so much time on this part. But I will just say a couple of words about the Jupyter. There are Jupyter notebook, Jupyter notebooks, and there's also Jupyter Lab. So what you can see right now on my screen, that's a Jupyter Lab. What are the differences? Well, let me see if I can find or maybe I can actually. So basically, it's the same. Jupyter Notebook. So you can see like the root tree, like it is the directory where I'm currently in. So it's home because I run it from the like home root from the terminal. And here I can like create a new like Python notebook. And yeah, like if for some reason you have Python 2 on your machine, it's not that great because Python 2 is I don't know, is there what discontinued or something like that? So Python 2 is no longer supported. So like you need to upgrade to Python 3 in order to like keep everything by the date. So yeah, you can create like a Python 2 notebook from here, and you can like start to work directly in this new Python notebook. But why I personally use Jupyter Lab, because like it allows you to see like the folder roots on the left. It has some useful widgets. For example, it enables you to work with Git directly in the notebook. You can see the outline of your like layout of your notebook. So it's just more fancy to work from Jupyter Lab rather than from Jupyter Notebook. But they're basically the same. It's just Jupyter Notebook doesn't have so many like awesome functions as Jupyter Lab does. Yeah, I'm gonna close Jupyter. And when you download Jupyter, it downloads both, I guess. It downloads Jupyter Lab and Jupyter Notebooks. So you shouldn't be worried about like what should download this or that. It comes like in package, then you just decide what do you wanna use right now. I just close this one. Yeah, and when you create a new Jupyter notebook, like you have two options. What cell do you want to execute right now? So there are some like buttons on the top. For example, you can see the plus sign. It creates a new cell, and you can have a button, a cell with the code where you can input the actual Python code inside. For example, x equals to 5, 5, counter enter. It's gonna execute, and then I can go here and just say print x. So that's the cells where you can put your code inside, but also you can create a new cells with the markdown, where you can just say like hello students, how are you? So it just markdown. It's I would say it's like a language for. I believe it's called markup language or something like this. Let me check markdown. Okay, so yeah, it's lightweight markup language. So that's just the language which allows you to visualize your text properly. And I will also send so this link, I guess, with the shortcuts, how you can make your text look more fancy. Let me just find cheat sheet. Oh, here it is.
Yeah. So just to clarify, this would be something that, for example, would change the color of your text or something like that in a way that makes it easier to read instead of just reading plain text.
Yep, exactly. Okay. And also you can use HTML text inside the mark cells. For example, the one I remember is B high, like a bold text. So it just like, yeah, it's basically just makes your code more readable. So you don't have like the plain code, just the code which doesn't read properly.
Oh, sorry to interrupt again, but I think that there are some like environments where this is automatic, or like you don't have to add this on your own. So it just depends on what you're using, right?
I am not sure that like how would um, like how would environment know what you want, what text you want to put there. So I believe it's just for the user to like create a visual story of your like workflow. um, for example, if you know the site Kaggle, Kaggle, whatever you spell it, uh, why it takes so long? Okay. Oh, sorry, I lost my connection for a moment. Can anyone hear me? See me? Okay. Uh, so you can see my screen, right? Why does it take so long? Okay, so as you can see here, like the Kaggle website is like a website for data scientists. Like it's a place where you can find some data sets, like neuroscience related or some other stuff related, like a bunch of different data sets which are publicly available. And also you can find some works of other people. And for example, as you can see here, like that's the example of the like, finished completed notebook. So you can put some videos, you can put some text, blah blah blah. So you can, so when the person who have never like worked with you, I can just open your notebook and I can just read through it and understand what you were doing here. So here comes the code parts, blah blah blah, some explanations, blah blah blah. Then again some code, whatever he was doing here, blah blah blah. Like import pandas, blah blah blah, and then so and these cells, it's the markdown cells, and these cells is the code cells. Because for example, you can also like work with Python. You can go like this. I can go here. I can create new document. I will call this test.py, and I will say x equals to 5, y equals to 10, print x plus y, and I'm gonna save this, and I'm gonna run this python test. Test.py, sorry, test.py. So, and you can see here the output of this file 15. So I can work, like I can create like just a like text file with .py and then execute this from the like, Python compiler outside of the jupyter. It's still gonna work, but in this way I will just have the plain code, and like it's gonna be even harder for me like to keep track what I was doing here. Like, and I can put some comments here. Obviously, I can just say I want to print blah blah blah, and I can save this. But Jupyter Notebooks, once again, is just a way to keep things clean and simple and easy to work with. Is it clear about Jupyter? Let me open the chat. Yeah, so Markdown is natively supported by notebook environment. That's true. That would perfect well. Yeah, Python too. Okay, if well, so yeah, once again, if you have any questions, you are free to unmute yourself, because like, for me, it's important to feel like I'm not talking to my laptop, that I talk to people and you like understand me properly, because I'm still worried about my English and my accent. So I just want to make sure that everything is clear. All right. All right. And just a couple of notes about the Jupyter notebook. Why I can hear myself in the headphones? So someone just put the mic on. Okay, it's better now. So as you can see, like if I create a new cell, it has like a blank space in the brackets. I believe that's what calls brackets, because sometimes I'm confused with parentheses, brackets, and quotes, so I can confuse the words, but forgive me for that. So anyway, you can see the blank space here.
You got it.
Thank you. So you can see the blank space here, and what that means that this cell was not executed yet. For example, I can put some stuff here. I can put y equals to 10, and then I go here and I say print y, and I get an error. And what is good about Python, that all the errors, they tell you like what to do. They tell you exactly where your problem is. Because, for example, in R, like I would say that in R, all errors are just saying you, okay, I have an error, go and find it. Like I wouldn't tell you where it is. But in Python, it tells you exactly where the problem is and what is the problem. For example, here, the Python tells me that I have like name error, and my name y was not defined. So what that means that like I have never created a variable named y. That's why I cannot print it, because I don't have it. And as you can see, if I run this cell, I got 4, which means that this cell was executed like fourth time. Not the first time, but it was executed fourth. I hope this makes sense. And now if I run this cell, I will get 10. So the cell was successfully executed. And you can go like whatever you want. You can create some cell here, x equals to 10, execute it. You can go here, you can say print x. So you can just pick the flow of your code executions as you want. But you have to remember that if you want to run the whole code, Python will go from the beginning to the bottom of your notebook. So here I remember that the first one goes this cell, and then I have to execute this cell in order for my code to work properly. But Python doesn't care if you have this some random flow of your code cells. It's gonna execute them from the top, from the beginning. So if I go here, I can restart my kernel and run all cells. So I got the error from the beginning because I was trying to execute a print x function, and my x was never defined because my x was executed before, after the print function. So that's something to keep in mind. So you can you have to remember that Python executes code from the beginning to the bottom, and it's better to keep your workflow also in the direct way from top to the bottom. So yeah, it's also a good practice to put some comments in your code, because I personally don't remember exactly what I was doing a day ago. So when I look at my code, which I wrote 2 or 3 days ago, I feel that's some random stuff I've never seen before. So if you put the what do you call this sign? I don't know, DS sign or whatever this is called. I can hear someone. Okay, and not anymore.
Hash.
Oh, hash. Yeah, thank you. Hashtag. Yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, if you put hash sign in your Python code, Python gonna ignore everything which stands after this sign. For example, I can say like this. Let's say x equals to 10, and then I say hash x equals to 5, and then say print x. And here you can see that I got 10 because Python doesn't care what I put here. It doesn't execute this piece of code. If I uncomment it, I will get 5 because everything I do here, like it's like my variable x, it's gonna be initialized. So now it's not gonna be 10, but it's gonna be 5 instead. Let me look at the chat. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna delete all and some useful shortcut buttons in the Python notebook. A, which stands for above and creates cells above the cell you're currently in. So it's letter A. Then letter B, it creates a cell below the one you're currently in. And then you can change the type of your cell with letter M to markdown. So you see here, so it was code before. So I'm here, I press M and look here, I got markdown. And I don't remember exactly how you can switch from markdown to code. I believe it's C? No? Okay, I don't remember how. Anyway, I don't remember how you can switch from markdown to code, but you can just go in this tab and just put code. And in order to execute your cell, you can press this button here, like triangle, or you can press Ctrl Enter, or you can press Shift Enter. The difference that when you press Ctrl Enter, you stay like, if I put x equals to 5 and I press Ctrl Enter, the code's gonna be executed, but I'm gonna stay at the same cell. I'm not gonna move down. But if I press Shift Enter, I'm gonna execute this cell and go below this cell, so I can just like Shift Enter, Shift Enter, Shift Enter, and blah blah blah, and go down. And if you want to remove some cells, you can press D, which stands for delete. So you can delete cells which you no longer need. It's still gonna work. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to tell about Jupyter Notebook. Does anyone has any questions about Jupyter environment? Not yet. Awesome. I understand it's gonna be difficult for you to watch me and have the same tab with Jupyter on the side, so you cannot work simultaneously with me. So you can try, but I'm not sure it's gonna be perfect for you, but you can try. So I might just leave some time at the end, so you can actually download Python, install Jupyter, and then try to run some code. So you can try with your hands, so you know that you understand everything. Shift Enter doesn't run. That is strange. Maybe if you have Mac, maybe it's not gonna be Shift. If you press on the Help button, it should tell us about the shortcuts. And if anyone sees them, just let me know. Tabs, file, show contextual help, whatever. Oh, nope. Python about blah blah blah. Nope. Okay, I believe that somewhere here there is a button where you can.
No, sorry, I meant that it executes run. For me, when I press Shift Enter, Jupyter Notebook does run. So it runs the code, the line.
Oh, so yeah, it's supposed to run the code. So yeah, it runs the code and it just goes down, because when you press Ctrl Enter, it just stays on the same spot. So
okay, cool.
I would use Shift Enter if I want to execute 10 pieces of code, cells of code. So I just press blah 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 blah, run, and just go below. So yeah, that's the case when I would use Shift Enter. But I mean, it's not that a big difference. All right. let me see. Okay, okay, let's start with variables and types. So Python has some built-in variables and types which you can work with. For example, Python has integers, which is like a number without the point, or like if that makes sense. But anyhow, like if I set x equals to 5, I would say that print x, and then I would say print type x. So what we see here, so I have a new variable x, and it has type integer. So int stands for integer, and later on, like I can work with this variable as I would work with integers, like mostly in the real life. For example, because you have to understand that not all the types. So each type has its own functions and methods which you can apply for them, and they are not interchangeable. For example, as you would guess, you cannot do the same stuff to strings as you would do to numbers, which we will see later on. I can have y equals to 10.5. I can say print y, and I can say print type y, and I will see that this is type float. So it's basically the same, but just without the but with the decimal part. Why do we need variables actually? So I can use Python as a calculator. I can just say 5 plus 10 minus 4 multiplied by 7. I could go like this, but the reason why we store some information in variables, because we want to reuse them later. So this piece of code wouldn't work properly for a long time, because you want to use this information that you got here later on in your code. So you have to store this somewhere, and you store them in the a variable. So for example, I can say z equals to blah blah blah, this one, or I can say even x multiplied by 5 blah blah blah, and I got some execution, and I got this. So whatever you put on the right side of this equal sign is gonna be saved as a new variable in Python, and later on you can use this variable for your manipulation or whatever you want to do with your code. And some notes about the numbers, that as you if you calculate this in real life, with the pen on a piece of paper, you would go first, you would multiply x by 5, then you would multiply 4 by 7, then you would sum them together and take the division, I guess it's called. Anyway, and that's the same way Python runs the code. So Python is smart, and it knows that you have to execute this first, this second, this third, and this fourth. So we don't need to put brackets, not the brackets, but parentheses, I guess you call this. So you don't have to put parentheses here. So Python knows what to do.
So those are parentheses.
Okay,
you were right. But did you the thing between 10 and 4? I can't quite see just because of the screen resolution, but is that a division sign or a minus sign?
It's division sign. It's minus sign.
Oh, okay, yeah, because with the order of operations.
Yeah, so the Python knows the order.
Yeah.
You cannot see the screen properly. I can zoom in. Maybe this helps. Or
yeah, that definitely helps. Thank you.
Okay. Is it okay like this?
Yeah, either way, I guess.
Okay.
I guess bigger is better, maybe.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Okay. Yep. Okay, I see some questions in the chat. As I understand the question, some people say, what if I put int 3 by 5? Why do I have no, 10 by 5? Why do I have integer, the whole number? So what exactly int function does? It just converts what you put inside into the integer type. For example, if I say like this, 10 divided by 5, I would get 2.0. So after the division, you always get the float number, even if you didn't have the like the part after the comma, whatever I call this in English. But if you put this inside the int function, the Python gonna convert this type into the integer type. So I can run type this, and it's gonna be integer, obviously, and type of this is going to be float. In the same way, you can convert, like for example, int type to float type. For example, if I say float function, which is built-in function, float 6.5. Oops, sorry, float 6, I would get 6.0. So Python converts integer type to float type. But for example, if I put here, hello, I will get an error because I cannot convert string into the number, which is obvious, I guess. Let me just put the lights on. Okay. Oh yeah, actually I've seen, let me just, okay, I'm gonna stop my video, I guess, and I just put the resolution to 720. Sorry for that. Yeah, I forgot about that. We have this option in Google Hangouts, so I just fixed it. Is it better now? Oh yeah, okay, it's cool. So sorry, yeah. Like if anything like this happens again, just interrupt me and let me know that something is not working properly. All right. So we have numbers like integer and floats. We have strings, as you can see here, like my string equals to hello. And if I print it, print my string, and then I print type my string. I got an error because, okay, I forgot the letter R here. Oops, string. Okay, so you can see the class str, which stands for string, and that means that it's a string, obviously. And some notes about the strings. You can see sometimes like a code like this, or you can see the code like this, with one quote and with two quotes. So what are the differences? Like none. So that's exactly the same. You can use either like two quotes or one quote is the same, but you cannot like mix them up in the one execution. So this, I believe, yeah, so this not gonna work, because like if you start with one quote, you have to finish with also like one quote. If you start with two quotes, you finish with two quotes, but you cannot combine them together. But other than that, you are free to use any quotes you want. No, so yeah, so they're the same. Like, yeah, I don't know any situations where you would like think about the double quotes differently than you would think about like single quotes. So they're the same. And yes, as I told before, like if you execute, like for example here, you can see that I create variable my string equals hello, and then I got the same like variable name, and I example, if I put here like 5, so what happens, like what Python does, it just re-executes, like, no, sorry, it's re-initializes the variable my string. So now it's not going to be hello, it's going to be 5. So also you have to like, keep this in mind. That if you need to keep this information later, if you need to use this information later, like you don't use the same name, because you're gonna lose this information with the new information 5. So for example, I can say like new string, my string new, or like 2, blah blah blah, something like that. And I believe that in notebooks there are some like magic functions which are functions that helps you to do some cool stuff. For example, whose function, it tells you all the environments you have in your it tells you all the variables you have in your environment. So you put this percentage sign and you put whose. I don't know why whose. I believe it comes from MATLAB, because I've seen this function in MATLAB before, and I believe that's where it came from. But anyway, and you can see here all the variables you have already in your notebook. You can see their type and what exactly inside of them. So I have like 5 variables of different types, and yeah, so like, if you want to remember what variables do you have already, you can just run this function and you're gonna see them. And I believe there's also who, which tells you just like the names of the function, but not like what are the types and what's inside of them. Yeah, so you cannot run this like piece of code inside the like a terminal or like in the .py function, because that's not gonna work. That's just like a Jupyter notebook widget or whatever it is. Okay, anyway, let me just, I have some examples here. Okay, how can you, what could you do with numerical data, numeric types? Like obviously you could sum them, you can take the difference, you can multiply, take the product, multiply them, but also some like functions that come in handy later. For example, this one, if I say 10 divide 2, I would get 5. So that's the, okay, so it's called quotient in English. So like for me, it's the whole part after the division. So when I divide 10 by 2, so I get 5. So I always say students that 2, you have 5 2's in 10. So 5 whole 2's in 10. So if that makes sense to you, so you can use this information, or you can, if you know what quotient means, because I don't obviously, you can use this information. But anyway, if I say 10 divide by 3, I will get 3, because I have just 3 3's in 10. And if I say 10% 3, I would get 1, which is the remainder of the division. So I have like 3 3's and 1 is left after the division, so I get this extra 1. It is useful when you, like, if you need to like do some work with defining like the odd and even indexes. For example, you want to do some stuff with odd indexes in your data frame, and you want to like completely different manipulations with even indexes in your data frame. And in order to know what indexes are even and what are odd, you can just use like floret quotient by 2, and like if this, actually you can do this. you can set the remainder of 2, division by 2, and if it's 0, so this is odd, it's even number, and if it's gonna be 1, like 3 here, you see 1, it's gonna be odd number. So that's when it's actually useful, because other than that, I've never used like these functions before. But you might, I don't know, maybe it's going to be useful for you. But in this case, yeah, it can be useful. Yeah, if you put like minus sign in front of your variable, it's gonna just take the negative, like the same, like you put minus 5, you get 5, so it's obvious. So it's not like a big surprise here. There is a function ups, which stays for absolute. For example, ups minus 5, which is also like, obviously it takes the absolute value of the number and it gives you 5. If I say ups 5, it's also going to be 5. So like not a big surprise here as well. And then some of you might know from other languages that when you want to put the, like if you want to like, if you want to take, like for example, 2 in the power of 10, you would say like this, 10 to the power of 10, 2 to the power of 10. But this doesn't work in Python as you would guess. And actually, I don't remember what exactly this, I don't know what you call this stop sign means. It has to do something with the, I don't know, it's like bit iterations, bit comparison of variables, but anyway. But if you want to do like 2 to the power of 10, you would go 2 multiply 10. And that's gonna give you like 10 to the power of 10. 2 to the power of 10. So don't confuse with this one. So this is not a power, but this is a power. And also there is a function which is called power. And you say like 2 to the power of 10. So it takes 2 arguments. So first one is the number you want to move to the power of some other number, and then you specify what number you want to, like what power you want. So you can go this way and you can go this way. It doesn't matter as long as you like remember that they're the same. Okay, we have some debates about this double and single quotes. Okay, so let me just copy the code. Yes, if I go this, I say print. So I see this single quote here, and if I print this, I would get an error, right? Because as you can see here, so Python expects that you started the string from here, and like this is still a string. So it expects that you would like finish a string from here, and for some reason here it doesn't. So it understands that you have the main string and you have just a single quote sign inside, and here it doesn't understand because you closed the string and you opened it again. So that's why we see error here. All right. I'm just checking the examples. And yeah, also we have Boolean type, which is also like extremely useful. For example, I can have x equals to true, print x, and print type x. So you can see class bool, which stands for Boolean, so it's either true or false. And you can go from Boolean to integer. For example, if I say int true, I get 1. And if I say int false, I will get 0. And in other way, if I say boolean 1, I guess this is gonna work. Yeah, So boolean of 1 is true, boolean of 0 is false, but okay, yeah, so I guess anything you put inside the bool is gonna be true apart from the 0. I don't remember exactly why it is the case, but apparently it is. Okay, yeah, so we're gonna use these Boolean operators later. So for now, we just need to remember that we have this type, built-in type of Boolean variables. All right. Now I want to tell about the strings because they are quite interesting to work with. Let me just... Okay, for example, if I have my str equals to hello. What is a little bit weird about the strings that you can multiply them. For example, if I say my str variable multiplied by 3, I would get like hello, hello, hello. So it just takes this string and just multiplies it by 3, and it just like put it 3 times like after each other. So but if I say, for example, my string plus 3, I would get an error because I cannot concatenate like 2 different types. I cannot like sum this together because that wouldn't make sense. But what I can do, also I can say hello plus students. So I can combine 2 strings together and I will get another string. So as you can see here, that's one string. I can just to double check, print type of this type. So you see that's the string. Print. Yep. And in this case, I would also run a str function. So I convert my integer number 3 into the string. And if I run this, I get like string plus string, and I get 3. So actually you can convert numbers into strings, but you cannot do the opposite. So if I go integer 1, I would get an error. And if I go like this, actually this... Okay, yeah, this is cool. So like if you have an actual number inside the string, you can convert this into the number. But if you have like some nonsense, like some sentence or something, like blah, 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 so you cannot convert this into the number. What else is interesting about the strings? So I had this variable. Okay, let me just make it bigger. My str equals hello students, how are you? So you can think about the strings as the collection of Unicode letters, or like just collections of letters, put it simply. So strings consist of like some independent letters, and you can access these letters by index. And indexing in Python works in this way. So you have a start index, you have end index, and you have step. And what is important, that start is included, and is not included. And step is default is 1, is 1 by default. So what that means, I can take my str variable, and I want to take like the slice of this string. I don't need the whole string. I just need a small piece of the string. I open the brackets, and for example, I want from the, I don't know, from the 5th letter to the, I don't know, 10th letter. And execute this, and what I get, I get letters from 5th to 10th, but 5th was included and 10th was not included. And important to know that in Python you start indexing from 0. So if I say my str 0, I will get letter H. So this is 0, this is 1, 1, this is 2, and so on. So, and that's why when I run this piece of code, I start from 5, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I get comma, and I get blah blah blah, all the rest till 10th variable, 10th letter, but I don't actually, so if I put 10 here, so letter G, you can see that Python didn't include letter G inside this slicing, because it doesn't include the end number. And also I can say, for example, I want to take from the 5th number like to the end, like the whole, like everything which is left, just take it. So I just keep the end number, and I run like this. So I go take from the 5th number and all the way to the end. So, and that's where I get. Also, I can say my str. So for example, I want to take everything from the beginning, but till the, I don't know, 7th letter. So, and you can see here, so it took everything till the 7th letter, but 7th letter was not included. And for example, in some like weird scenarios, you want to take like each second letter in your string, and you would go like this. So for example, you go like this. So you got this funny looking string. What exactly I've told here? So I told here that I would take everything from the beginning, because as you can see, I just keep the space blank. So I didn't put any numbers. So it means that I take from the beginning, and again, I left the second number blank, so I didn't put any numbers. So I take everything like till the end. And then like this third number, it's my step. So you can see step. And this tells like take every second like variable from my string. And you can see like every second variable exactly comes here. So you can go like, for example, my string from 1 to 10. It's gonna be exactly this. It's gonna be the same. So just first of all, it takes the slice from 1st to 10th element, and then it just takes the second of them. Does it make sense so far? Okay, I can see. Okay, there's still some debates about this single and double quotes in the chat. Yeah, maybe it's better to like stick to one style. If you use single quote, you use single quote. If you use double quotes, you use them. Apart from the quotes, does it make sense to you so far? Awesome. Okay. What are the other stuff you can do with the strings? For example, so let me just remind you what string did I have. I had my string. And for example, I want to check if like any other string is in my string. For example, hello in my str, I got true. So this is a new. So just created a new variable, a new object. So like they say, like in Python, everything is the object. So like everything you create a new object. And here I created a new object which has a Boolean type and it equals to true. For example, I can go x equals to hello in my string, and I can say print x and then print type x. And so I can see a new variable x which equals to true and has type Boolean. And if I, for example, say, I don't know, like Ruslan in my str, it tells me false because there's no like such string in this string. So in this way you can check whether your like substring like is in the main string. I cannot like tell you any like practical examples when this would be useful, but I guess there are some examples when you would use this, like when you want to check if there is actually like a small string in the big string. And then what is also useful about string is they have some what is called methods, but think about them as functions. So you can hear the words like functions, we see methods. Let me just put it bigger. Oops. So you can hear the words functions and methods, and we will not talk what are the difference right now, so like not to confuse like everything, but we're gonna talk about them like in a day or so when we're gonna talk about how to create a function. So when I say that strings have their own specific methods, you can just think that there are some functions that can be applied for the strings. For example, if I say my str put dot sign and then I press tab, so in Jupyter Notebook, tab key, it just helps you, like it's like auto. I don't know how would I say this. It's like auto. Okay, if anyone
like autocomplete.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you. So yeah, it just, for example, I can say my and press tab, and then I see all the like possible variables I can like use right now. So I have like 3 variables which starts from my, and I just choose this one and I press enter, then I press dot, then I press tab, and now I can see all the functions that can be applied to this variable. For example, upper, so it just takes all the letters inside my string and just put them in the uppercase, which also sometimes can be useful. In the same way, I can go my str.lower. Oops, I forgot the R letter. Okay. So yeah, my H, and so these 2 H's, they were in uppercase, but now they're in lowercase. So it's also can be useful sometimes. What other cool stuff can you do? Okay, for example, count. For example, count, and I want to count how many letters A do I have, and I have just 1. So yeah, that's true, I have only here. If I say count O, I get 3, so I get this 1, 2, and 3. So it just counts exactly how many, how much of this string you have inside this string. If I put here hello, I will get also 0. The question is why? Because if we look at our string, the H was capital, and so this doesn't equal to this. So if I go like this, hello equals hello, I will get false. So Python is okay, what do you call this, like capital sensitive, register sensitive,
or case sensitive.
oh yeah, case sensitive, thank you. Yeah, so Python is case sensitive, so this doesn't equal to this, and in the same way, if I have variable no, m equals to 5, and then if I say m equals to 10, so this is going to be completely two different variables. They are not the same. So that's something also to keep in mind. Yeah, so if I put hello from the big letter, I would get 1. So I just have one string hello inside my string, my str. For example, I can also use find, and then, for example, I want to find O. What exactly it is doing? It's just looking for this string inside my str variable, and it just returns the index of the first occurrence of this string. For example, it tells me that letter O stands on the fourth index inside my string, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it doesn't care that we have like O's here and O here. It doesn't care. So it just returns you the first occurrence of this string. For example, if I put students, I would get 7. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It just returns you the index where this string starts. So it starts from the 7th index, and that's why you get this output. If I put some string that is not inside this main string, for example, y. Okay, now we have y. Let me put I. Okay, so you see there's no letter I inside my string. That's why I get -1. So it means that there's no like such string inside my string. What's some other stuff you can do with strings? So yeah, as you can see, all these function names, like they all like, I mean, like you know what they would do, because you could guess that function replace, this would replace something with something. For example, I want to replace students by I don't know, neuroscientists. So as you could see, so this replaces like the original string. So it looks for this string inside my string, and then it replaces it with the new string I put in. So I can just leave it blank like this, and this would be blank here. And another useful function, like not function but a shortkey in Jupyter Notebook, is Shift Tab. For example, if I go like here, so I want to apply replace function on this variable, but I don't remember exactly the order of the argument. So what should be the first? The one I'm changing, or like the one I want to change it for? So I would like put my mouse with pointer inside the parentheses, and I would press Shift Tab, and you can see the doc string, which is like the documentation of this function, how it works. And you can see here like the arguments the function takes in. So it takes like 3 arguments. It takes old string, new string, and count. Yeah, so we don't care about count right now. So the first one is like the string you want to change, and the new argument is the string you want to change it for. So as you can see here, I want to change students for neuroscientist. So once again, that's the Shift tab. Let me open. Okay, I can see about the parentheses, a question about the parentheses. So let me just quickly. Okay, so why does my str upper without parentheses doesn't work? So if I go like this, upper, it how would I put it simply? So in this way, you would call the attributes of your object. And like I believe we're gonna talk about attributes and methods when we talk about the classes, when we would create our own class. So right now you have to remember that all the functions, they come with parentheses. Like even if you don't put anything inside, you still have to like put them. So upper, you have to put parentheses, like even if you don't put anything inside. I believe, yeah, it doesn't even take any arguments, because like this one wouldn't work, because like in this way, so it just tells like what it is. So that's the function, but it doesn't execute the function. So it doesn't do what you want it to do. But yeah, don't worry about this now. Like if we come to like OOP lecture, like we would, oops, I got someone. Okay, so yeah, if we got to OOP lecture, we would see like what are the difference. But right now, like don't care about it that much. Just remember, if you have function, you have to use parentheses, even if you don't put anything inside. Okay, let me just open my cheat sheet. Actually, I got some exercises here. So for example, like this is the DNA string. So yeah, first of all, this is the site Rosalind. I used to play with this like a couple of years ago. This is the site with exercises in the bioinformatic field. How can I open the main page? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, anyway, this is the website with exercises in bioinformatics, and it has some like cool, easy exercises to try on. So for example, I have this DNA string, which equals to this, and then the task is to count how many nucleotides, I guess that's what you call it, like A, C, G, and T, you have in this DNA string. So, and like what I could do, like I could say like A count equals, so I just create a new variable A count, and I say DNA string dot count, and I count A, and I just print it. So I have 20 nucleotides inside my DNA string. I hope like this makes sense. Like I have no idea how the DNA works, but I hope what I'm saying now makes sense. This in the same way.
Hey, could you link the string to the chat? I want to recreate that.
Yeah.
Please.
Yep. Just give me a moment. Okay.
Thanks.
No problem. So yeah, in the same way you can count how many T nucleotides you have in this DNA string. In the same way, you just say like, for example, D count, and I would put DC to make it faster. I would say DNA, and I would say count D, and then I can just print it, and I get 0. Oh yeah, because we don't have D. Sorry, oops. We have G, for example. G. Here we go. We have 17. And there was another exercise where when you have to like convert, okay, I can say it wrong, but you have to convert DNA string into the RNA string, and the way you do this, you just you change T with U letter. So if there's any like microbiologists in this chat, just forgive me for my wrong interpretation, but DNA string equals to this, and then RNA string, string equals to DNA.replace and I'm just gonna replace T with U. Oops. So yeah, and I'll see that I just replace the like whatever T means and whatever U means in terms of nucleotides. Yeah, I just wanted to show you these examples because I think it's cool when you can actually see the practical use of this function, replace and count. Does anyone has any questions? Okay, if no questions, I'm gonna go further. For example, if I say that my str. Okay, so this is how my variable looks like, and now I can apply the function split, which gonna do like the same thing you expect it to do. It's gonna split your string by some like separator. So it has like argument sep, where you can specify like by what letter or by what string you want to split your string. For example, I can put here comma, and what we got. So you can see the brackets from the sides from this output, and this tells us that now it's a new type which is called list. So my list equals to my string split, and I can print my list, and I can print type my list. So you see these brackets again, so that's the list, and the type of this object is list. And we just got this by splitting our string by this sign. So for example, if I had, I don't know, like A, B, C, D, and I put split by comma, like I would get the list of the letters that are in between the commas. Yeah, and now like we come to the collections. So for example, before like we've seen how we can create a variable, how to create an object and save it as some variable. But for example, if you want to have a collections of different variables in one spot, that's when the collections like lists become useful. So for example, as we can see here, we have now a list, which is the collection of strings. But let's start from the simple example. My list equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can again put type of this object, my list. So now I have 4 different variables inside my object. And I can also run a function len, which takes the length of the object, and in such case, like for the strings, for the lists, it's gonna count how many objects do I have. For example, I can go len my list, and I will get 4. So I know that I have 4 objects inside my list. And actually the same works with strings. If I say len my str, I can see it's 29, so I know it's 29 letters inside my string. So it just does, it does what it expects it to do. And now there are some also cool stuff about lists. So you cannot say my list plus 5, because this wouldn't make sense. So you cannot multiply like list to 5. So you can see the arrow can concatenate list to list. Can concatenate integer to list. But what you could do, the same way as you could combine two strings together, in the same way you can say my list plus 5. Oops. So in this way, like you concatenate two lists together, and what you get a new list. So you get a new list with 5 at the end. Because in this, so this is the integer, this is the integer inside the list. So, and you can sum list to list, which is important. In the same way, you can go my list multiply by 2, and what you see, it just the same way it did two strings, it just takes like the string 2 times. Or I can say, I don't know, 10, it's gonna be just the same, repeated 10 times. It was bracket that made the difference. Yeah, so when you so with the brackets you tell that you're gonna create a list. So whenever I put brackets, for example, I go like this, so I do like this, and Python knows already that whatever comes inside, it's gonna be inside the list. So I can go, I don't know, hello, I can go 5, I can go 6.0, like whatever I put inside, it's gonna be inside the list, and then I can work with this object as I would work with list. And as you can see here from this example, you can put like any different types of objects inside of lists. So you can put strings, you can put integers, you can put them all together. Because, for example, if you worked already with NumPy, Python package, Python NumPy arrays, they don't allow you to mix the types of variables inside of them. But in list, you can combine all of you want, just put them inside, and you just get the whole bunch of different types in one place. And in the same way you worked with the strings. So we had this, where was it? We had this slicing, okay, so here it is. So in the same way the slicing applied for the strings, in the same way you can apply this for the lists. So for example, I have my list, let me just print it again, and I can just take the first element, my list 0, and I will get just 1. So I take the 0th index from this list and I will get 1. What I would expect, I can get from 0 to second, and I will get 0 and first, because second is not included. I can the same way, I can just go, let me just, my list equals to range 0 to 1000, 0 to, okay, 100, print, I just want to make it big, okay, let me just list, okay, so I have this range function which creates like a range of numbers, like this is the start index, this is the end index in the same way, and in the same way the 0 is included and 100 is not included, and you can see here the list of the numbers. So I just want to make the list bigger. So in the same way I can go 16 till 45, and I get all these numbers according to the index. I can just say I want a second number, and I get second number from this slice. So the same idea applies. I can get a fifth element from this slice, so it still works the same. And even, I haven't showed this before, but you can make a reverse of your object when you put the step equals to -1. So it just takes everything like, from the end to beginning. Like, obviously I make it reversed. And the same works with strings. Let me find. So I have my str. And I run. And now I can say my str. I take from the beginning till the end, and I say -1. So step equals -1, and it just creates the reversed string of my initial string. And I believe you can also do -2, which is gonna like do the same reversed, but take every second letter of your string. Like no idea like when you would use this, like reversed -2, but you can. All right. What other cool stuff we can do with our lists? Yeah, for example, if I have list and I want to remove some of the objects, for example, I don't need like this number 99. What I could do, I can just say I can run function del, which stands for delete, and I say my list, and I know that it's gonna be on the hundreds. Its index is 100, so I can just go like this. Actually, no, it's 99. Its index is 99, so and I just remove this, and now if I print my list again, I do like this, so it just takes not so much place. So you can see that I removed this value. For example, I can remove from fifths to 15ths. So you see I removed some numbers from here. And in the same way, if I remove the slicing, I will just remove the variable my list. So I just run this, and then if I run this, I will get an error. So my list is not defined. So in this way, you just remove the variable out of the memory from your environment, which also sometimes can be useful. Like if you no longer need this variable and you don't want to keep up the space, so you just remove this. So are you guys still here? Do you have any questions?
No questions. This is really clear. I am getting a bit tired though, so my brain is losing its edge.
Yeah, we have 20 minutes, and then like I will let you free. So yeah, it's kind of late for someone, I guess. So yeah, I just finished with lists, and then like we can go to do whatever we want to do. I'll just show you what else can you do with lists. For example, I've showed you the len already, which like tells you the count, how many objects you have inside your list. Also, we have, for example, min built-in function. Let me just run this again. And I take min of my list, and I will get 0. So the minimum value from my list is 0, obviously, so it's here. And if say max, max of my list is going to be 99, so the maximum. And we also have function sum, which takes the sum of the objects my list. So it just calculates the sum of all of these numbers. If I have the string sorry, not the string, but list, my L, okay, equals to A, B, and Y. And if now I apply the function min on this object, my L, I will get A. So how it works in Python, as I understand, it just like when it comes to letters, it just keeps them in order in such a way. So it's like A, B, B, C, C, blah, 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 and so on. And then like X, Y, Z, Z. So, and that's why here you have like the minimum is A, and if I put the maximum of my L, and actually maybe I was wrong and it's not the way. Okay, so it looks like it goes like this, A, B, C, and then it goes blah blah blah, then it goes A, B, C, and Z at the end. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so it looks like it goes like this. Yeah, and if you want to take the sum, you would get like an error, because for some reason it doesn't want to like multiply your strings together. But you wouldn't even like do this in real life. What else? Okay, I feel like this is not. We don't have enough time for this. Okay, yeah, I don't want to give you too much information from the first lecture. Maybe if. Okay, see everyone. Yeah, I'm gonna push this notebook inside the GitHub repository, and then I'm gonna give you the link so you will have the same, like you will get this, like this piece of code, so you can look at this later. And also I'm gonna send you the link with exercises. I will send it here in the chat, and I'm gonna like send it later in the Discord channel. And so what's cool about this website, that they have like exercises by different topics. So for example, like Python basics, so we like talk about this already. Okay, no, so this is not actually basic. Okay, for example here, write a Python program to display the first and the last sorry, where was it? Okay, write the Python function to display the first and the last colors from the following list. So you know that you have the list. With colors, and the task is to to display the first and the last color. So, and how can you do this? You can just go like color list. You need the first index, so it's 0, and also you need the last color, which is -1. So you take black. So like some of the exercises from here you already know, so how to do them. So like if you're the beginner in Python, I highly encourage you to look into these exercises, and you can post your questions inside the Discord channel. Like, I don't know, maybe like I will create some channel here, like homework or something like that. Yeah, so like try to go through them, and like if you know how to do them, try to do them. If you don't know, or maybe like if you haven't covered this yet, so don't try to do this. We have some exercises, or we just need to recreate things. So yeah, you can go through the exercises from this website. So I don't have any like specific exercises for you guys, so you can just go like through some of these exercises and just try to do them. For example, they have exercises, so with string here, 84 exercises. Okay, so write a Python program to calculate the length of a string. And you know already that the function len. And what is also cool about this, that you can always see the solution for this exercise. Okay, but it comes inside the function. Okay, don't worry about this def, what it does. So we will talk about this later on. Let me just think what else maybe I missed. Yeah, I will also, as I told, I will send you the links how can you install the Python and Jupyter notebooks. And like, if you have any questions, you're free to ask them. And the way I see it is I would hold these like meetings once, like one per week, and one session for 2 hours. But in between, like we are free to talk inside the chat, so but without the actual lecture. Does anyone has any suggestions or questions? I personally like, or maybe 1 hour and a half, yeah, so we don't get too tired. Okay, so yeah, there's also, yeah, but they always ask you to create a function, and we haven't talked about functions yet. But anyway, if you know how to do this, you can do this, and you can ask questions about this. Oh, but the function creates a dot representation of a graph. That's interesting. It's language agnostic. Yeah, I understand this. I just wanted to go through it. All right. So I feel like I told you everything I wanted to tell. So our next class or session, whatever we call this, is gonna be on the next week. Maybe a small summary of what we will learn each session. Yeah, I put the Python lectures outline here. I will just maybe like duplicate this inside the Discord channel, so like we all know what we're gonna learn next. Yeah, that's a good point. So I hope this was useful, and I hope that I'm gonna see you next time. And like, yeah, I'm gonna like I'm gonna tell the time inside the Discord channel. Oh, thank you. All right, bye.